Coming up tonight, if you're curious about how many contracts have been given out by the government or what government actually spends on travel, then the Organization for Responsible Governance wants to hear from you. Stay tuned to hear about it. Plus, Prime Minister Brave Davis receives full Masonic degrees from Prince Hall Lodge. And Prairie View A&M University's local alumni chapter held its second annual HBCU Day in Grand Bahama. Go Panthers! This is Our News, a weekend edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. Just how much has government spent on travel? How many government contracts have been awarded since the start of the fiscal year? Well, if you have any of these questions, then one civic organization wants to hear from you. Our Christina Dragovich explains.
From big-ticket furniture expenses to travel itineraries and major contracts, government spending is always making headlines.
Because we pay taxes every day, every time we go into the store, every item we purchase in the country, we want to know where that money is going that we're contributing to the national budget or the government's coffers, right?
Engagement Program Manager for the Organization for Responsible Governance, Tate Adderley, explains why the issue of government funds is a public concern. Just 2 weeks ago, Prime Minister Philip Davis defended the government's $2.3 million increase in government travel. When it comes to government spending, amendments to the Public Procurement Act can make finding that information even easier. Org Executive Director Matt Aubrey explains how.
So the Public Procurement Act that passed in 2021 and now this further potential amendment of them represent more modern legislation. And fundamentally what it means is more opportunities for people to bid on government contracts, for local firms to be prioritized, and for greater transparency within that process.
It's a move they hope will promote transparency, accountability, competition, and inclusivity in the bidding process.
Procurement, when it's done well, open procurement, it brings greater economic opportunities, more competitiveness. It is more effective and efficient government services and expenditures, and fundamentally can drive more local economy if more local firms are able to benefit.
Org steps in to help people learn which opportunities are out there and how to apply. But they need your feedback to help to craft legislation that's in the best interests of the Bahamian people.
Once you read the bill, once you understand what is happening in the bill, you are able to give feedback and be a part of this idea of civic governance and having your voice heard on a national dialogue. So that's at orgtransparency.com/policy review, and you can go there, look for the public procurement bill, and provide feedback on that particular piece of legislation.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Christina Dragovich.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper stressing the need for the adaptation of more cashless and contactless payment methods. While appearing as a guest at the World Travel and Tourism Global Summit, Cooper said while cash is still key, in a tourist environment, cashless means of payments are paramount.
We are moving to the point where you can use a mobile wallet. Everyone has a digital phone or cell phone that you can use using a wallet, and we're moving steadily towards that. On the issue of contact, we must always remember that tourism is a people business. Yeah. So talking with that vendor on the beach in Exuma, Bahamas is a part of the experience. And whilst there is the convenience and the hassle-free factor, and we want to eliminate the bureaucracy, I think a part of experiencing the people in the location that you visit is a part of the love that people have for our country.
The Deputy Prime Minister led a delegation to the summit in Saudi Arabia, where they discussed the post-COVID success of tourism throughout the Bahamas. Cooper also explained what he sees for tourism in the future.
I think we're going to see more digital e-visas. We're going to see more waivers of visas from places like the Kingdom to the Caribbean, where you can have multi-destination travel around the Caribbean in a seamless way.
Holland Cruise Line's new Staten Dam making its inaugural voyage to Freeport Grand Bahama on Friday, welcoming over 2,300 passengers and 1,000 crew on the luxury vessel. Port Director at the Freeport Harbor Company, Orlando Forbes, calling it a positive sign for cruise activity on that northern island.
We continue to work with Carnival with regard to building off the new cruise port a little bit down the coast, and we continue to work with Royal in terms of their proposed plan for the harbor. Those things are coming along positively, and so as we look down the road, cruise is going to be really an anchor, I think, that Grand Bahamians in the general will be able to rest their heart on. So the outlook is very positive.
He says they will continue to work with Holland America in hopes of making Grand Bahama one of their cruise destinations.
Following the pandemic, which really began for Freeport in 2020, we lost really all of the cruise ships. And so to come to a place where we're beginning to see cruise activity again, climbing steadily towards 200 cruise annually is really a positive thing.
Still to come on Our News, was WhatsApp breached? Oh boy, we might be in trouble. Look out for that story. And Margaritaville doing its civic duty. Residents of the All Saints Camp are the happy recipients. Don't touch that remote. We are right back after this break. Welcome back. Allegations of a WhatsApp data breach have many of the popular app's users on edge. It's possible that almost 500 million WhatsApp users from 84 countries may have their information up for sale on the dark web. Director of Information Security for the Cable Bahamas group of companies, Shakira Roll, tells us more.
Our country wasn't explicitly named as one of the 84 countries that were in the sample database that's been published on the dark web. However, that does not mean that there's not an extension or an extended listing that may come out later with our countries listed there.
In the meantime, Roll advises you to use two-factor authentication where you can and stay current with your phone security updates. She also says to be cautious of the privacy permissions you allow your apps to access.
When you do enroll in these apps, there are access controls that you can put in. So if you downloaded a camera app, a new camera app, there's no reason to give a camera app access to your contacts. So make sure you're paying attention to, when you download these apps, what aspects of your data are you giving them access to? Limited to only the need to know. Use that principle to reduce the risk of you overexposing yourself.
In recognition of World AIDS Day last week, Margaritaville Beach Resort partnered with the Hanaway Group, presented hot meals for the residents of the All Saints Camp. CEO and Creative Director of the Hanaway Group, Latoya Hannah Moxie, explains the initiative.
We know that there are organizations like the AIDS Foundation, the AIDS Secretariat, the Red Cross that do a lot already for the cause, and they focus more so on making sure people know their status, making sure you get tested, and the education and the research. But with All Saints Camp, the biggest question we had to ask was, how do we help the persons that are actually living with the virus? So the Hanaway Group partnered with our clients, Margaritaville in Nassau, and we provided hot meals for 50 residents at the All Saints Camp in honor of World AIDS Day.
And they don't plan on stopping there. Margaritaville's executive chef, Lester Dean, tells us they hope to continue working with the camp in 2023.
We did a breakfast meal for the All Saints Camp. We did some chicken sauce and we handed it out to all the patrons at the camp. Just make them feel on this World AIDS Day that that's still being taken care of. We really at Margaritaville want to start doing it more often in the new year, so hopefully we'll get other different organizations to help out in 2023.
When the weekend edition comes back from the break, Prime Minister Davis was elevated to 33 degrees, the highest degree in Masonry. That story straight ahead. And Bahamas Prairie View Alumni Chapter holds its second HBCU Day in Grand Bahama. We have the full story when our News Weekend edition returns. Just yesterday, in secret ceremonies at Prince Hall Lodge, Prime Minister Philip Rafe Davis was elevated to the highest and last degree in Freemasonry, 33 degrees. Normally, those receiving this degree would fly out of country to receive it, but Prince Hall brought Muhammad to the mountain this time. This historic occasion was graced with the presence of Sovereign Grand Commander Melvin Bazemore and the Secretary General of the Holy Empire, Sovereign Grand Inspector General Edward Brooks. Prime Minister was placed in the class of 2022. Sovereign Grand Commander Bazemore placed the Masonic crown upon Prime Minister Davis's head during the ceremonies, witnessed by high-ranking brothers, to include Prince Hall Bahamas Jurisdiction's Grand Master of Masons, Honorable Leslie Marcus Dean. Prime Minister Davis has been a good and upstanding brother of the order for many years. Our news congratulates him. Bahamas Prairie View Alumni Chapter hosting its second annual Historically Black College and Universities HBCU Day on Grand Bahama. Charter member of the Bahamas Alumni Chapter, Fernita Harris, says the goal is to share the opportunities available and benefits of attending an HBCU.
It's very impactful. In fact, if you send your students to an HBCU, they're a mirror of what they're used to here at home. So maybe they'll be more comfortable and they'll excel more.
Members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated were also invited to share various aspects of Greek life, including their efforts in social action and public service. President of the Grand Bahama Alumni Chapter, Arlette Thompson.
We want to bring awareness to the Bahamas regarding the Orange Campaign. So it's a campaign focused on bringing awareness toward domestic violence and violence against women and children, and it is actually an international platform, so we are just sharing in with the Orange Campaign worldwide and using our voices here in the Bahamas to make sure we speak to the public, make them aware, and when they look out for the different legislations and acts and bills that come out, they're more educated to vote and to use their voices.
Bahamas Social Action Coordinator Catherine Adderley says the chapter started promoting the campaign in Grand Bahama some 5 years ago. She is encouraging more Bahamians to become educated about the issue of marital rape and to use their voices.
What Bahamian people and Bahamian women specifically have to understand is that you have a voice. We can actually control which laws are passed and how those laws are drafted and crafted, and we have to be more assertive in putting our voice forward. Tell your members of parliament, tell your representatives what you want that law to contain. Don't just accept things as they are written, and that's actually why the government puts out bills for public consultation. They don't just sit up in the House of Assembly and pass laws. They put the bill out there, educate yourself, read it. If there's something in it that you don't like, speak out on it.
Harris adds that come 2024, the PV Panthers will be convening in New Providence.
The Bahamas Alumni Association for Prairie View is the first international group for the organization, and so we're very excited of what we bring, and we're bringing together the Prairie View alums. So now we're working. So now we have won the 2024 National Convention, which will be held in NASA. So we're looking forward to all of the Panthers coming to NASA to graduate, to matriculate as we go through for that conference.
Straight ahead after the break, the junky new weather is in full effect. The forecast is waiting in the wings. And an outstanding young Bahamian makes his mark below deck. The details right after this break. Nice weather for a junky new practice tonight. Let's see what's in store for us over the next few days. If you're a reality TV junkie, you may know 24-year-old Nathan Morley from Bravo's hit show Below Deck. Morley is a Grand Bahamian native and while in high school was a part of the Maritime Cadets program. He shares how he eventually ended up working full-time in the maritime industry.
One day I went into Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and I went on the marina and I saw the yacht and I saw this guy and he's sitting up there. I was like, damn, can I work on your yacht, man? And he's like, you serious? I was like, yeah. And he's like, if you be here tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock sharp, you have yourself a job. I was like, all right, cool, great. So I came in the following day and the rest was history.
Morley has worked in various positions throughout his career.
The yachting industry is just a luxurious lifestyle of the wealthy people who like to enjoy all of their time on their boat. I started off as a deckhand, and I've basically went through not all positions, but I've went through most of the positions by working on the exterior, on the interior. Exterior is basically those who like boatswain, deckhands. You probably have some first mates out there.
And unlike a regular 9-to-5 where you're tied to an office, Morley can change boats often. So far, he's visited over 30 countries. And while that sounds exciting, he says the constant travel comes with its pros and cons.
I've been traveling so much, too much, I could say. Like, if you name a number, it's not a normal, typical human number of traveling. I've been traveling a lot, and it's been really difficult, but also it's been quite a really big blessing, and I'm so grateful and thankful for it that I get to experience tons of countries. I go around, basically I've been all around the world. I've been to basically 30 countries in total right now, and that's me spending a good amount of time there. I would be able to stay there for about couple months, or just a couple weeks.
Morley is currently one of the main players on the show, Below Deck. He says when they first reached out, he was a bit skeptical, but it's definitely an experience he would do again.
The experience overall was phenomenal. I was completely a brand new Caribbean guy coming into a completely cold place, Norway. We filmed inside of Norway, and it was really cold actually, even though we did it a little bit like around summertime. And during the time, I would say it was hell of an experience. A lot of positive remarks, and a lot of people kept on saying, you should do this, you should do that. So I'm just going to see how this road plays out.
And as the push to raise more awareness about the maritime industry continues, Morley is also encouraging others to give it a try.
If you see something and you want to do something, go and do it. Don't procrastinate on it. Don't overthink it. Just dive into it. And I think there's a big thing about my life. I've lived my life living it like it may be my last. You're not living unless you're risking. And if you're not able to want to risk what you have to see what can better come out of it, then basically you're living a life full of fear.
He says this is definitely a long-term, lucrative career.
I love the industry. I've been in the industry for about 4 years now, going on 5. And it's been a hell of a journey for me. And I intend to be in this for as long as possible. It makes really good money, so why leave it, hey? Unless I become one of the billionaires, then hey, I can buy me one myself.
I too am looking forward to becoming a billionaire one day, Nathan. Thank you so much for joining us for Our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Have a safe and wonderful remainder of your weekend.